All right, thank you, Allison, and really thank you to the Chicago Humanities Festival and the team, just an incredible team that's helped us all this morning get all of this together for you. And it is ambitious in terms of form, and I'll tell you why soon. Really, this book, Fleeting Monuments for the Wall of Respect, the kind of long, unwieldy title in a way, has three projects or agendas. One of those projects, of course, is to share and impart the art historical significance of the Wall of Respect, a 1967 mural produced here in Chicago by the arts faction of OBASI, the Organization of Black American Culture. Only existed for about 5 years. Really important and iconic and seminal work of public art, and also an iconic and important work within the context of the Black arts movement. So that's one part of the agenda, is a sort of art historical piece through a different format. So not through a linear articulation of its art historical merits, but something that's much more montage-like, and I'll say something about that soon. The other agenda is to dig into the problem around monumentation and the making of memorials. Really, that is the issue that concerns me a little bit more than the taking down and or removal of memorials and monuments that exist. So the sort of making of memorials. And pulling those two agendas together is what Fleeting Monuments for the Wall of Respect basically does. I'll interject a third piece here, which is something I'm working through in real time in many ways, because it's the part of my practice that kind of keeps me going and keeps me involved in some of the projects that I take on. And this is something that I'm thinking about, which I might call a service-oriented art history. So an art history that allows one to pay attention to and again dig into some of the elisions, what's missing, the failures, the problems around art making that show up when one does the history. And so some of the problems that I encountered were real problems around lack of acknowledgement for some of the Black artists who were working in the 1960s, again, who made this really important artwork, and yet who were not able, in many cases, to continue and or have a sustained practice in relationship to their career. So instead of just writing about that, this service-oriented or inflected, I'm not happy with the language on that yet, art history is one in which one, as an art historian or as one who interprets contemporary art, this allows one to actually pay attention to that and to do something and to be active in relationship to that knowledge. So this is, I think, a third piece of the Fleeting Monuments for the Wall of Respect agenda that I like to share more and more as I become clearer and clearer about it. So there are really three parts to this afternoon. One, I'm going to make some comments and read a little bit from the book just to sort of help you have a formal frame around some of these various agenda. And then we're going to have a pivot of sorts, and two of the practitioners who are important to the Wall of Respect and also important to the Fleeting Monuments for the Wall of Respect book are going to work with you and with us on producing fleeting monuments for the Wall of Respect in real time. So we're going to make something. That something being a mask with artist Robert E. Paige, and we're going to make a dance movement project with Darlene Blackburn, which is also meant to memorialize and mark the Wall of Respect. So again, we will be taking part in our own way in Fleeting Monuments for the Wall of Respect, one in the form of a sort of ephemeral object that you can make and then take and it'll disappear. It's not rotten in bronze. It's not heroic. It's fleeting. It'll disappear. It'll disintegrate. It's not that special. and yet it is. And then the other in the form of a dance movement with Darlene Blackburn, which is also something that's not static and over heroic, and something that's collaborative, which again is a key aspect of the Wall of Respect. I'll say this in case I don't read from the passages where I articulate it, but part of why the Wall of Respect was an interesting case to me for monumentation is that it was extremely fluid in terms of form. It it's a mural, right? But it's a mural that holds paint, like most murals, but also photography and also poetry. So, and also there's this other layer of artistic activity that took place at the Wall of Respect in the form of theater, in the form of activism, in the form of music making, again, by noted practitioners. So musicians from the AACM, actors and actresses who were founders of important projects here in Chicago, such as Val Gray Ward, who founded Kumba Theater, poems such as that poem SOS by Leroy Jones and Mama Baraka. So it didn't just hold these other forms, it held really important articulations and examples and cases of these other forms. So it was so complex that, again, I think it becomes a really good cue for how one can make more complex, multiformal monuments, and how one can memorialize in much more creative ways than to decide that, $3 million needs to be raised to make a wonderful statue somewhere. So I'm going to read a little bit so that I hope some of this is a little bit clearer than it is in my informal comments. So this is from, these are moments from the introduction. There's been a lot of debate in the past few years about either tearing down or speaking back to outmoded monuments, especially those that were erected with intentional or unintentional racist and or sexist agendas. Fleeting Monuments for the Wall of Respect proposes to ignore some of the conflict that surrounds the relevance, history, and existence of such monuments in an effort to recognize and shed light on other histories and battles, both literal and metaphorical, that are neither spoken of or writ as large and in such a declarative way, with obdurate materials and at such a lavish scales onto the town or city landscape. In other words, one way to complicate the current dialogue around monuments is to not take part in it in a way that directly concerns those iconic monuments in question, those of historic figures such as Christopher Columbus or Confederate heroes such as Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson. While many of these have been rightly removed or challenged through activism and interventions, such as artist Kehinde Wiley's Rumors of War in 2019, which is in Virginia on Monuments Row, which mimics the Confederate sculptures on Monuments Row in Richmond, Virginia, but makes the heroic subject a young African-American man with dreadlocks and contemporary clothing, they might also be ignored more adamantly. Or one might consider at least how the contemporary moment's stress about monuments may be used as an opportunity to bring consciousness to undervalued histories. Sorry, I'm without podium here. In this case, African-American histories that have not been noted or confirmed on the landscape of the city in any way, much less monumentalized. How might such non-monumental histories be recognized and in decidedly non-monumental ways? So again, our mask and our dance movement would be an example of that. That is to say, how do we recognize histories that are more hesitant, experimental, affective, personal, and minor in scale, those that don't assume a universal or grandiose significance? This is the looming question posed by this book, which asks readers to consider a wider range of possibilities for producing an honorific relation to historical events and persons. Expanding modes of memorializing inevitably broadens the range of stakeholders. It allows for encounters with the historical event that align with the vicissitudes of personal politics, as well as divergent and shifting interpretations of who and what constitutes a worthy historical subject. The normative tactics of memorialization include the use of enduring materials such as bronze or stone, staging the event or person at a larger-than-life scale, and assuming a universalist perspective or take on a given historical concern. But these are reductive and hackneyed. What other media, forms, durations, values, and scales can the memorializing endeavor inhabit? Can the effort to commemorate be something other than a static object? Instead of using a fixed mass of some precious material, such as stone or metal, how can the endeavor to memorialize be more fleeting and subjective, a more evanescent, unruly, or intimate event or project? Projects of this sort are better adapted to historical revision and reinterpretation, which has recently problematized the very presence of Columbus bronzes across the country. As such, we anticipate and make a point of the fallibility or potential demise of any memorializing project. So I think that passage gets across, again, and conveys why we might be making masks or involved in something that's time-based and not static, such as the movement part of this afternoon with Darlene Blackburn. So here I'll read a section that helps us to better anchor why the Wall of Respect. The fleeting monument, as I conceive it here, has more than a hypothetical or speculative bearing. The history of the Wall of Respect offers a constructive case in point. The Wall of Respect was a 1967 public artwork, a mural, at 43rd and Langley on Chicago's South Side. It was a decisive artwork in the Black arts movement, featuring portraits of Black heroes and heroines in the areas of music, literature, dance, politics, religion, theater, and sport, including such figures as John Coltrane, Nina Simone, Billie Holiday, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, W.E.B. Du Bois. Darlene Blackburn is actually on the Wall of Respect. So in case you don't understand completely how amazing it is to be making a project with Darlene Blackburn, she was actually one of the heroes that was on the Wall of Respect. And she was on the Wall of Respect in the form of a photograph that was taken by photographer Roy Lewis. So really exciting to be able to produce something with Darlene today. Where did I get lost? Okay, produced by the Organization of Black American Culture, OBASI, and rendered by Chicago artists including William Walker, Wadsworth Gerald, Jeff Donaldson, Barbara Jones Hogu, Elliot Hunter, Carolyn Lawrence, Norman Parrish, Aniqua Bill Wallace, Myrna Weaver, Sylvia Abernathy, Catherine Aiken, David Bradford, Curly Ellison, Will Hancock, Florence Hawkins, and Eugene Ida Wade, as well as photographers Darrell Cowherd, Robert Sinstack, Roy Lewis, and Billy Abernathy. It also became an important platform for Black music, poetry, and political events. Musicians such as Joe Jarman, Lester Bowie, Roscoe Mitchell, and poets such as Amos Moore, Gwendolyn Brooks, and Haki Madhubuti all practiced their craft at the Wall site. The Wall of Respect only existed for approximately 5 years. By 1972, the building, which it was painted on, was demolished after a damaging fire. If one goes to 43rd and Langley today, if you go there right now, in Chicago today, there's no sign that it was ever there. While it sparked a citywide and nationwide mural movement, while it was an influential work in the context of the Black arts movement, and while it remains a potent in the memory and the hearts and minds of those who collaborated on it, its creation, and those who witnessed it some 50 years ago, the Wall of Respect is mostly unknown. Given its art historical and social significance, the Wall of Respect needs to be recognized in some way. With this book, I argue against making a monument of it at the site and for paying tribute to it in ways signaled by its very existence. So again, we're paying attention to the Wall of Respect, really the deeper knowledge that's embedded in as a cue for how we might memorialize it today. The Wall of Respect offers the perfect case and opportunity to think about acknowledging important historical events and persons in more fluid and in experimental ways than traditional heroic monuments, because it instructs against such permanence. Again, it didn't last forever. It was made rather quickly. Instead, it proffers the spirit of collectivity, collaboration, reduced capital. It was not made with a grant or large amounts of funding. It was transdisciplinary, impermanent, experimentation. It was improvisational. So those are all of the things that I propose might be used as cues around how to produce a different type of monumentation. All of these traits offer appealing methodological cues for differently marking an historical happening, and consequently informed the prompt I gave to a range of practitioners with and without personal experience of the Wall of Respect. These practitioners were asked to realize a fleeting monument commemorating the Wall of Respect with little to no money and in a rather short time frame. They were also prompted to work against it being timeless, static, or too grand. The works collected in this book are thus varied, but they all adhere to one or several of these advisements while also addressing in their own way the memory of the Wall of Respect. So that's all I want to read, thank goodness. But I do want to just share about the way, so I gave the artist this prompt, right, which I just read about, and then I had to deal with and really curate what landed on my desk. And so I curated those and into 5 sections based on what showed up. And so there's a section of projects which are called legacy monuments, and those include projects by people like Robert E. Paige, who's here with us, because this means that these projects were made by somebody who had an experience of the Wall of Respect, and Robert Paige was one of those people who had an experience there. The second section is called gift monuments, because those were predominantly produced by contemporary artists who wanted to offer something to this project just because, out of love and admiration and respect for the Wall of Respect history and Obasi. And so that was really important as well if you consider that the Wall of Respect was a gift itself to the neighborhood. It was, for many of the artists who worked on it in interviews, they mentioned that they considered this a gift to Chicago, a gift to the South Side, a gift to the neighborhood at 43rd and Langley. So again, those artists and practitioners were really paying close attention to the cue and the cues around the Wall of Respect when they actually wanted to give something away. And I think a lot about this recently and how gifting and of that in generosity is a really important knowledge formation. Something that I think about a lot that I've learned a lot from the Wall of Respect history and from the Wall of Respect practitioners. So again, giving away the book, all of that seems just sort of right in line with what you all taught us. Darlene and Gerald Williams, who's here, and Robert Paige and others. Another section includes reflective monuments. These are moments where mostly contemporary artists reflected upon the Wall of Respect experience and created a sort of poetics out of all of that abstract potential. The fourth section is something that's going to mean something for us to do, something for us today, because it's called make and do monuments. And the idea here is that you might make your own monument, right? Again, insofar as the Wall of Respect practitioners just decided to make this, to do this, to produce something on their own terms. They didn't wait for the city to authorize it. They didn't wait for piles of money. They just did it. And so I think this is also instructive to us. And so Robert Paige is going to lead us through very soon, I'll shut up soon, lead us through very soon a make and do monument, what I describe as a make and do monument. We will be making and doing something as we attempt to mark the Wall of Respect history. And then the final section was called remnant monuments. And this section was by artists and practitioners, and I contributed to this section as well, where there are people who were interested in residue and the archive of the Wall of Respect and erasures and absences, and how, because the Wall of Respect is an absent present, right? It's not there at 43rd and Langley if you go there right now. So they were really digging into this cue from the Wall of Respect for history, which is about how to make something from the residual information that might show up around an art historical object. It's not there, but it's filled with sort of atmospheric meanings. And so that is what's in that section. I look around and I think, I mentioned that Darlene obviously is going to lead the second part here, and Robert's very soon, in a moment, going to take us through his Make and Do project. And also, remember the art historical piece that I said is really important to this agenda? He's going to impart and share in his own way in a very vernacular way, his relationship to the Black Arts Movement. So that historical piece that he can offer is going to be shared in, again, a kind of less academic, a slightly more fluid, open, experimental setting and scene like the one we have here. So again, that's aligning with that. But another person that's one of the contributors to the Fleeting Monuments for the Wall of Respect project is here also, and that's Wills Glassspiegel, who actually contributed a piece on footwork music and Chicago footwork dance and music. And in addition, I think Will's piece is a good one to talk about what might be happening for a lot of you. From being here today, from digging into these projects, from thinking about or hearing about the Wall of Respect for the first time, you might dig further into that history and pursue a tangential project that relates to what you're interested in. So what I mean by that is Will did contribute something on footwork, but actually was riveted by the fact that the only dancer on the Wall of Respect was Darlene Blackburn, and he got in touch with Darlene Blackburn and has made a really incredible video on Darlene Blackburn's history and involvement in Festac in the Wall. So again, we could all do that because that's what the potential of a fleeting monument exercise offers. We can learn about something and pursue a project around it on our own terms and on our own time. So thank you for hearing that. I'm really happy to share this with you. And Robert Paige is going to lead us through a make and do project. I think he wants music that relates to the kind of sonic experience at the Wall of Respect, and he's going to talk you through a prompt. And we suggest if you don't, some people are at hard table surfaces, and if you're not, maybe you can just wander around and find a place to draw. Thank you.
You'll be here a long time.
That's okay.
Hey, okay, I got somebody working for me. All right, as Romi said, my name is Robert Paige of Robert Paige Designs. My participation in the Wall of Respect is that I was a rock as part of the organization. And from that, my story began. Through my archives, when you talk about the 60s and the 70s, I found a drawing that I did in 1960. Now, you can see it's on a napkin, which may indicate that I was not at study hall. I was in a lounge or someplace. But the idea is that this started it. And then I got an opportunity to further my design ability when I did this bag that sold at Carson's. He wants me to turn it around. Thank you for the support. So this is all just to say that the Wall of Respect in the association with those members were very close to me. And so it informed my practice. The music that I was going to play was associated with us at the time. You would have Coltrane on the Wall, and you would have Coltrane's Love Supreme. You would have James Brown, and you would have Say It Loud. I'm black, I want to be proud. And that would be in a call and answer type of thing. And then, of course, you had my dear friend Max Roach that said, we insist, meaning that it's time to stop messing around and be about the business of the business. So from this bag, you may want to come up at some point. This small design here was my first attempt to go, when people talk about what is your journey, I like to combine the two. This was a voyage because I went to Milano, Italy. And as a result of these two patterns here, I got an opportunity to sell this. And you're talking about a happy camper, you know, to be able to sell this to a company called Fiorio. Also, while I was there, there was a company at the store, a store similar to Marshall Field's called the Lorena Shinte Department Store. And so I sold this to them, and I had a relationship with Fiorio over 3 years, and the way that worked out, I would send them designs, they would pick the ones that they wanted, I would enlarge them to their specification, they would put the money in my bank, and that's what I loved about that relationship. This was another one that I did. But of course, you know, when you're a bit arrogant and you say, well, I said, if you don't put my names on those scars, I'm done. He said, you are. He said, no more. So that's kind of the story. What I'd really like to do is, we've got these masks, and this is, as Romi said, this is my dada, because the markers in the fabric, as wonderful as it is, it doesn't allow for a real flow in the line, so you have to deal with it the way it deals. So if you were interested in making one, I would love for you to come up, take only 2 markers, and then we have these patterns, and these patterns come from, as Romi said, that I'm in the book, and my section deals with the African alphabet, and these symbols and samples are from the African alphabet.
You know, one of the things that's, I think, really interesting about this project is one might think intuitively that the easiest way to honor the wall of respect on a mask would be to write the names of some of the heroes. So I listed the names of some of the heroes that showed up on the wall of respect, and one might think to do that, but instead Robert really wanted to do something that was more abstract. And I think, again, that's in fitting with some of the cues around how the Black arts movement practitioners were thinking then and now. So instead of an opportunity to just write W.E. Du Bois on a mask, which you could do, right? I'm kind of saying, also mentioning if you want to do that, you can do that, Carol, right? But you can do that, or you can play into the design motifs.
Yeah, a question was asked, why did I choose these particular designs? Well, I think that the idea first hit me that someone did research and spent time to find out about an African alphabet. And in this book, you know, I maybe purchased it 10 years ago. Now I look at it, it's gone from $59 to $350, which is an indication that it had popularity. But I like the idea that these symbols had words attached to them. You know, it had an emphasis. You know, it let you know that, you know, all design is just not design. As I said to someone before that was up here, color is the skin of the world, you know, and you think about people that say, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, and I say, that's true, but there is a saying from me that says, you miss what you're not trained to see. So that's why I talk about my interest in nature, and people say, well, why are you so interested in nature? And I say, have you ever seen the puffer fish? This little fish maybe is 2 inches tall, and on the bottom of the ocean, he creates this wonderful circular pattern to draw his mate. And now if that's not beautiful, then I don't know what is.
So as I mentioned, one of the sections of the book is a compilation of contributions by artists who were involved with the Wall of Respect in some way, and were there in the 1960s, and/or were there in the 1960s. And one of those is a photographer, K. Kofi Moyo. And there's some images in his section, which is around page 44, that references they reference his participation and involvement in images of Festac 77. And this was a global convening of black artists that took place in Lagos, Nigeria in 1967. So again, this connection to African culture was really, really profound and really dynamically animated by many of the Black arts movement practitioners. And so I am really excited today because accompanying Darlene Blackburn, the dancer, of course, who's one of the heroes on the Wall of Respect, is Atiba Walker, a drummer, who was one of the Muntu dance company members who actually worked with Darlene, and he also went to Festac from Chicago in 1977. So again, this sort of confluence of other arts-related projects shows up in the book as well. In the relationship between something like Festac 77, which was 10 years later and on the continent of Africa, but nonetheless there was a real connection and alignment and connectivity to the Wall of Respect. And so that's sort of what's playing out in the next 5 minutes as Atiba Walker comes to help play and drum and collaborate with Darlene Blackburn.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so honored to be here today working with my dear sister, Darlene Blackburn, because that was my first trip to Africa, was Festec in '77, and it opened me up to the significance of what I'm about to do now, playing this drum. As you all may know, and for those of you who don't know, the drum is not a toy. It is a tool of communication. So I just want to open up my piece with this statement by one of my great music mentors, Baba Kalan, Phil Karan. Great black music is the language of our African seed, through which we transmit the thoughts of our condition. This language is based on an ancient tradition of scientific knowledge. Its foundation and laws are encased in natural phenomena, and its objective is to maintain us in a state of spiritual affinity, sympathetic to universal vibration. That thought came to me as I was sitting here listening to my sister. I said, I gotta share that one because Baba shared that with me in a way to understand that it's okay to play music, but why do you play music? And I'm playing this drum and I'm working with my dear sister Darlene, playing for the dance that you all are gonna do with her when she comes up with it. But the drum lays the foundation. And I'm gonna take you through a rhythm piece and I wanna check your memories. For those of you all who are able, I would just need your assistance by you using your hands for a clap. I'll demonstrate where that clap goes when it comes to that time. But I want you to remember it because I'm going to show you before I start speaking. I'm going to speak in the language of the drum, and in between some of the rhythms I play, I'm going to go to 3 patterns. I need you to remember those patterns as I begin to teach it to you now. So I'm going to show it to you right now. I want you to get it as best you can, hold it in your memory because I'm going to play it all through, and when I come back, I'm not going to tell you, here it comes. It's just going to come inside of the music. When you hear it, I want you to respond appropriately. All right. The first part is the call, what we call a signal, to let us know when to start, stop, and change. Listen to it first. Now, here's what's happening. No, I'm going to change the last part a bit. Let me do this. Now, I'm going to clap where I want you to clap at. Watch it. You see that? Listen again. Don't anticipate it. Just watch it again. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, let's do it. I want everybody to give me that clap on it. Oh, y'all locked down. I love it. Now the second phrase. Listen to it. Let's check that again. Oh, I love it. Let's see if that was a mistake. All right, one last part. Okay, it's coming. Let's go over them just for memory's sake, and then I'm going to go into my speaking to you. All right, here we go.
That one's side.
All right, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. See, you're the best.
Mama Darlene? Yes, yes.
How's everybody? Good. Today I would like to first just get us loose a little bit. You know, I'm older now, so I can't just jump up and start dancing. I have to loosen up. So you can stand up or you can sit, because I teach chair yoga, so I know about sitting. So we're just going to isolate. We'll move just one part of the body at a time, just to loosen ourselves up. We're not going to worry about hurting yourself. So we're going to start with just our head going up and down 8 times, Then we're going to just turn our head from right to left 8 times. Okay? We're ready, Brother Kiba? Okay? Ready? Here we go. It's up and down. 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. To the right and left. 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Can we do it a little bit faster? It's up and down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right and left. 5, 6, 7, 8. And now we're going to add our shoulders. We're going to bring that shoulder up and down 8 times. Just slow. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Left shoulder. 1, 2. Good. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now both shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. 7. Now a little bit faster on the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now rotate it forward. 2. Yeah, just moving. 3. Now reverse it back. And 1, 2. Just loosen up. 3, 4. Change. Left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now back. 1, 2. Good. 3, 4. Now both. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now back. 1, 2, 3. Now let's get the movement a little bit wider. We're going open, cross, open, just right. Move those arms, get circulation going. Open, cross, open, cross. Now if you can, move your ankles so that you warm up your ankles a little bit. Open, bring the ankle open, and then bring it in, yes. Now pat your foot so you warm up your shin bones, the front of your leg. Just pat the floor. Yeah, just hit the rhythm. Bam, da, 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 da. Okay, let's try it on the other leg. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. 5, 6, 7. That's it. 8. Now pat in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Now, remember how we did our shoulders up and down? Now we're just going to add putting our heel forward. All right? That's all. And just move the shoulders and the feet. Get some circulation going. Good. Now pat the floor. Hit. Just pat it. And hit. Yeah, just hit the floor. Just hit it. Hit it. Hit it. Now push into it. Push your feet down. Push, push, push. Good. Push, push, push. Yeah. Hey. I think all of you look pretty loose to me. Good. Give yourselves a hand. Woo! So that's just a little warm-up movement that we're going to work on. It's not going to be that hard either, because I want something that you can take home with you, like you're taking home the mask. I want you to take home this chant, teach it to your grandchildren or to your children. You know, it's something that's going to stick with you. So I hope you try to learn it right, because when you do chants, etc., you may not even think you are, but later on you'll just end up having that in your mind. You know, like you hear certain music all the time. And the chant is just the sounds of the language. It's not saying any particular words. It's just the sounds of the language. I had the opportunity to live in Nigeria for 3 years. And this is a dance that is called the juju. It's also, this is Europe people. They have the juju dance, they have the juju music, you know that, and they have the juju, well, a lot of different things. But we made up this rhythm. With this rhythm, we made up this song, which is just, like I said, the sounds of the language. So I want you to learn the song first. So just repeat after me. Ade base. Ade base conga. Conga. Let's try it again. Ade, like daytime. Ade base. Ade base conga. Conga. Okay, I think you have it now. Let's try to do it all together. Oh yeah, you can do it. You can. Ready? And Ade base conga. Conga. Again. Ade base conga. Conga. Let me hear you. Good. One more time. Good. Now, if you can think about that heartbeat, right here at the heartbeat, if you can think, Ade base. So every time you say a word, your chest pops out. Okay, let's just try it. And Ade base. Yes, conga. Ade base conga. Conga. Pop your chest. Come on, you gotta breathe. There you go. Conga. Ade base conga. Good. Conga. Ade base conga. Good. Conga. Now see, can you move your feet at the same time with that? Just right, left, nothing hard. I'm almost 80. I'm not getting ready to do nothing hard. I'm not getting ready to do nothing hard. I'm glad I can move my feet right and left. That's all we're going to do. Ade base conga. See? Conga. Don't worry about your hands. Ade base conga. Now every time you hit the floor, lift your chest. Ade base conga. Hit the floor first. Conga, yes. Ade base, good. Conga, yes. Conga, great. Ade base, good. Can't hear you though. You gotta breathe. Come on. Ade base conga. There you go. Conga, great. Ade base conga. Conga. One more time. Great. Now that's all we're going to do is just walk around with that. Come on, because you're going to have to be my little star. Come on. Come on. You too. Conga. Ade base conga. Conga. Come on. Bass good. Conga. Just right, left. That's all. Ade base conga. Come on, you're doing good. Ade base conga. There you go. Come on. Ade base conga. Conga. Ade base conga. Conga. Keep moving. Base conga. Good. Conga. Yeah. Base conga. Come on. Conga. Ade base conga. Now you're going to do 2 steps. Ade base conga. Just 2. Right. Conga. Yes. Ade base conga. Yes. Conga. Ade base conga. Conga. 2 steps. Ade base conga. Conga. Ade base conga. Conga. One more. Ade base conga. Now can you go in and out? We're going to go. Ade base conga. Go out first. Conga. In, out. Base conga. Conga. Ade base conga. Conga. Yes. Ade base conga. Just walk 3 steps. conga, drop. Ade, bass, conga. Co, conga. Ade, bass, conga. Co, conga. Ade, bass, conga. Co. Okay, now what I want you to do, that ade, bass, conga is really like 8 counts. So it's like 2 chants, that'd be 16, right? Singles. Ade, bass, conga, coco, conga, repeat it again, ade, bass, conga. Then, again, but doubles. 1, 2, 1, 2, ade, bass, conga, coco, conga. One more time, ade, bass, conga, coco, conga, except you're doing 2. Then we're gonna go out. Ade, bass, conga, right? And that's it, we don't do no more. Then we'll go back to the ones, okay? Let's try, it's good for your mind, you know, you gotta keep memory, you gotta keep this functioning. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is sing it twice. And then Atiba will come in with the drums with us. So you ready? And ade, bass, conga, conga. One more. Ade, bass, conga. Now we're going to do singles. Ready? Walk. And ade, bass, conga. Conga. One more walk. Bass, conga. Now doubles. Ready? Ade, bass, conga. Conga. Ade, bass, conga. Now we're going to go out. Ready? Out. And ade, bass, conga. 3 steps. Ade, bass, conga. Conga. Ade, bass, conga. Now go back to your singles. And ade, bass, just walking. Conga. Walk, bass, conga. Now go into your doubles. Ade, bass, conga. Conga. Again. Ade, bass, conga. Now go out. Ready? Ade, bass, conga. Conga. Good. Ade, bass, conga. One more time. Ade, bass, conga. Conga. Ade, bass, conga. Now back to your singles. Ade, bass, just walk. Conga. Ade, bass, conga. Good. Now doubles. Ade, bass, conga. Conga. Ade, bass, conga. Good. Conga. Ade, bass, out. Conga. In and out now. Ade, bass, conga. Conga. Ade, bass, conga. Conga. Okay, give yourselves the hand. Woo! All right. Are there any questions? All right, good. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And so this is our way of creating a memorial to the Wall of Respect through these various projects. I want to thank Atiba Walker and dancer choreographer Darlene Blackburn and designer artist Robert Paige and all of you, because we have collaboratively created our own, in our own way, a memorial and monument to the Wall of Respect. Thank you.